Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Spiderloft. Godzilla is quite possibly my favorite film franchise ever. It's a film franchise that's brought tragedy, horror, and extremely hype moments, and a lot of enjoyment to me for several years. I'm not a super fan of Godzilla, but I love this franchise. I haven't watched every movie, but I've come to really appreciate the franchise and how it's evolved over the years. In 2023, TOHO released the very critically acclaimed Godzilla Minus One, directed by Takashi Yamazaki. This movie is, with very little doubt, not just one of my favorite Godzilla movies, but my favorite movie of all time, as said in the title. This is a review, but I think off the title alone, you could probably tell where this is gonna go. Now, of course, this video is going to be very spoiler heavy. If you haven't watched this movie and don't want to be spoiled, go watch it. Like, right now. I'm not kidding. Get off this video and come back later. And even if you haven't watched this movie and don't care about spoilers, it's really good. Go watch it. Now that everyone who hasn't watched the video yet is gone, it's time to get into why I love this movie so much. Now, this video isn't a super critical review of the movie, it's more from the perspective of the general audience, which is me. And so, that's really what it is. If you're looking for something critical of the movie, this isn't really the place for you. I mean, you're still welcome to stay, but other than that, that's enough of me dragging on this intro. Let's get into the movie. Godzilla Minus One takes place in a post-World War II Japan, specifically during the mid to late 40s. It uses this setting in order to empower its impact and enhance that story that it tells. The movie does a phenomenal job at something that most Godzilla movies often struggle with, and that's making compelling and captivating human characters. The movie actually does this so well that I forgot that I'm watching a Godzilla movie in the first place instead of a drama. Out of all the characters, the main character, Koichi Shikishima, is the most compelling one. He's a character who is haunted by PTSD and survivor's guilt due to his experience during the war, where he had encountered and been one of 2 survivors of a Godzilla attack. Following the war, Shikishima attempts to rebuild his life with 2 others, Noriko and Akiko, who are both survivors of air raids. The 3 of them live together as a family and help one another as they rebuild their lives. We watch as the characters live in a reconstructing Japan, and this might be just off of the fact that I get attached to characters a bit easily, but I got attached to the characters really quickly, and I'm sure that several members of the audience also did. Through the movie, we begin to wish for the well-being and happiness of the characters, Shikishima especially. Shikishima's trauma isn't ever set aside. It constantly haunts him throughout the movie. He is unable to move past it without the help of someone he cares about. So much so that to the point where he has a complete breakdown questioning his life and whether he even survived the first Godzilla attack. He's compelling because we see Shikishima as a human who feels so strongly and has an inner turmoil that constantly eats at him. And even when he believes he can finally move past that trauma, he's reminded of it and is plunged down into that darkness once again. Shikishima as a character is based around how he interacts with that trauma after the war, and it comes to a point where he becomes willing to sacrifice himself so he can avenge the people he believes he failed and for the people he cares about. And Shikishima is given a net of people around him to help convince him that his life is still worth living and to pull him away from sacrifice. The other characters are also extremely important throughout the story and are compelling through also experiencing the PTSD of World War II. Although they don't get as much focus as Shikishima, they are extremely important in being a voice of reason to Shikishima, eventually pulling him out of that trauma and convincing himself that he has a life that's worth living. And that's what Shikishima learns by the end of the movie. He learns that his life is still valuable and that he should live for himself because other people rely on him and are important to him. We watch a man broken from war, hating himself and haunted by what he didn't do, begin to love himself and want to live because of the people who care about him. And that culminates in his ability to get over that trauma. And there's one more very important character the namesake character of this entire movie in the first place. Godzilla is an absolute monster in this movie, without a doubt. This Godzilla isn't a hero. He isn't a tragic being, entity. This Godzilla is a monster, a force of nature who despises humanity, and does whatever he can to destroy humans. This leads to Godzilla being the root cause for all of Shikishima's trauma and self-destruction, and this Godzilla is done so unbelievably well. Now, this iteration of Godzilla isn't the most powerful, he isn't the largest, he's actually only barely taller than the original 1954 Godzilla, and, well, this Godzilla is a destructive force of nature who wreaks havoc everywhere he goes. Now, this Godzilla is a reimagining of the original 1954 Godzilla, being a personification of the actual war in Japan and, more specifically, the trauma that was suffered by the people of Japan. Not exactly the nuclear trauma specifically, but the trauma of the entire country as a whole. During the first few Godzilla attacks, the people of Japan are unable to do anything to him, but eventually they devise a method to stop him. When it comes to Godzilla's design, it looks really good. It's cool, it looks good. I can't really put it to words, I'd say, but I just adore this iterations of Godzilla's design. When it comes to Godzilla designs in general, I don't think it's really that hard to make a good Godzilla design, especially with how much reference material there is, but I digress. I especially love the Big G's atomic breath and how the usual glow along the dorsal fins is given some extra flair by making them look like control rods being pulled out and then forced back into Godzilla when he fires it. The scene itself is absolutely stunning, with the build-up and aftermath really displaying the destructive output of Godzilla. The explosion after the atomic breath is also one addition that I like, due to how it was reminiscent of the mushroom cloud of the atomic bombs. The cinematography of this movie is amazing. This movie does a really good job at portraying the scale of Godzilla specifically, when compared to pretty much everything else that's in the movie. We're not really given a look of Godzilla whenever there aren't any humans, but whenever we do get a human perspective of Godzilla, we just see how colossal Godzilla is when compared to us, and I love how they do it. The soundtrack as well is also really good, and the use of silence or just sound effects gives a lot more impact to a variety of the scenes. There's also the Godzilla suite, which isn't used for Godzilla, but more for Shikishima, and it's really well placed in how it's Shikishima's time to shine, alongside being there to show Shikishima's character arc is completed. The casting for this movie was really well done. This is just going to be me talking about Shikishima again, but I think Ryunosuke Kamiki, who played Shikishima, did an absolutely phenomenal job at portraying him, especially whenever Shikishima is in a scene that really tests and shows his emotional state. Kamiki is able to bring out that emotional turmoil that Shikishima is experiencing, it being able to just portray it so well, and it's so raw at times. And it really struck with me. His performance is amazing, and everyone else also did a amazingly phenomenal job, even though I'd like to just highlight Kamiki specifically. When it comes to what I don't like, well, there pretty much isn't anything. This movie was, for me at least, pretty much a perfect movie. There is almost nothing I'd actually want to change. Allow me to reiterate that Godzilla Minus One is my favorite movie of all time. The directing work done by Takashi Yamazaki really enhances the movie, and the passion for the movie is so clearly seen through both the directing and the work portrayed by the actors, and just everyone else who is on this project. The special effects for Godzilla Minus One is extremely well done, and Godzilla is an extremely menacing and threatening force. The emotional beats of the movie were executed really well, moving me and even getting me to cry a few times. This is a movie that I recommend that anybody who hasn't watched should watch, and I can't wait for Yamazaki's... Wait, he's making a sequel? Well then, Godzilla and Kong Supernova and Godzilla Minus One sequel will be my most anticipated movie until they come out. Anyways, my review for this movie should be expected. In my opinion, Godzilla Minus One is a 10 out of 10 movie. Hey there! If you're watching this part of the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you stuck on for a little bit longer. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you have anything you'd like to say, go ahead and comment. I'd especially appreciate it if you took some time to go down and subscribe. I'm still a small channel, and every bit of support would mean everything to me. I have a Discord server that you can join. I talk there from time to time. It's mostly for if you want to get special announcements that I don't post on my community tab. You can even talk to me pretty often since I'm almost always online. You can also help me out with choosing what to review from time to time. But other than that, I have nothing more to say. Once again, I am Spiderloft. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.